Hello, everyone. We're live at Epic headquarters. I'm Stacey. I'm here with Steve, Sidney, and Nick. We're just on first name basis now. So we have a lot to cover this week as far as news. I wanted to give you an update about the store. The items are at the store. We're doing some descriptions for the different shirts. Here's one of them. We should have them hopefully within a week or so. We wanted to remind everybody also to make sure that you head over to our IRC channels. It's on globalgamers.net, and we want to really thank the guys over at globalgamers.net because they've been absolutely wonderful helping us set up our channels and everything. So be sure to jump into Unreal Tournament and to UT contributors and come hang out with us and say hello. We do talk there. Joe may kick you out for no reason whatsoever, but if that's the case, we'll let you back in. So. Let's see what else we have. Oh, also, we wanted to take a look at some of the new wallpapers that people have been doing with the new logo. And as you can see, we have the new logo behind us here. And that was the one done by Rick. Shell, could you bring up the screen so we can take a look at these? So there's the one that Rick Kohler did, and he's one of our environmental artists. And this one is actually in the game right now, right? Yeah. So. And we also have some other ones from, this one's from Henrik. This is kind of old school. And next, this is my favorite. I have this one on my desktop, actually. He did these with the first logo that he had done. And he redid the blue one so far, and we're hoping for a red one soon, Henrik. And this one's kind of the goopy one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this one is another old school one with the trophy from Unreal Tournament. Love this one too. Another cool one. And this one has given us ideas for things how we want to start decorating our office with lights and stuff like that. So this is another favorite. And he made this one too, which kind of looks like it came right out of the one level that Chris showed. And here's the other old school one with just the logo. And then we have some more. I could have swore I saved some more. Yeah, try it over there. The one by Crowtail there on the
down.
There we go. That one from Crowtail. I don't know why those didn't pop up. And this is another one by him. And also a blue version. I love the red and blue version ones because I have dual monitors and one for each side is awesome. And this one's by Sly, and cool. These ones, this is Nepali, so these are really, really cool. And he did 2 of those. So if you want to download some of these, there are a lot of ways you can do it. You could either head over to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Unreal Tournament, and we have a photo album. You can also submit them to me, and I will post them up there. You can go to epicgamers.deviantart.com. You can't get them all, but there are some that are there because it's, if people post them, then they'll be there. If not, then you won't see them. And you can also go to our Pinterest page, which is pinterest.com/UTGame. And those ones are ones that I find over the internet, and there's a lot of cool things in there. So if you ever see anything that you'd like to see on the Pinterest page, just drop me a line and let me know. So next what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this awesome map that Sid's working on. It's called Overlord. And so there are a lot of cool things. It's kind of like a...
Yeah, so...
It kind of reminds me of what was that map called that had the thing in the middle that you could heal pod.
Oh.
Kind of reminds me of that.
It has a
you have that
central
area.
Yeah, no correlation to AS Overlord, which, hindsight, of course, the name is just work in progress name. It doesn't really... I don't really put too much thought into it at this point, but so the core idea of this really is to make a shell that kind of went away from the serious aspect of creating hardcore gameplay maps and kind of serving a little bit more of the themed aspect of what UT classically had was kind of just for fun style maps, really, that had a central gimmick or a certain element that were just kind of fun to play on pubs and kind of at the same time utilize that to highlight
pressure.
Yeah, that's what I always think of when it comes to that.
TDM still,
yeah,
even hardcore guys played pressure too, but basically just to also kind of illustrate the things that you can do with blueprints now, and the concept behind it isn't really that crazy, but it still allows you to do things that you'd never be able to do with the original Kismet or even original UT you could forget about doing stuff like that, right? Without having a coder that actually knew Unreal Script and did some stuff for you. And the really cool part about this is that anybody can go in and do this sort of stuff with. It takes time to get into, but it's super rewarding once you kind of have your first few success moments. And the other nice thing about this too is that it doesn't really require you to kind of bother doing custom game types or game modes and custom HUD and any of this other stuff. Like the whole goal behind this approach here was to create a map that had actors in it that were self-sufficient, so you could really just plop them in and it would just kind of work. And really it's all sort of driven by this one blueprint in the middle. Like this is the actual scanner blueprint here. And this blueprint basically is just set up to gather all the other relevant blueprints and kind of let them know what's going on, what the current status is and all that stuff.
So this sits on top of Deathmatch, for example, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's totally game type agnostic, right? You could throw this into a CTF map or any other sort of game type and it would just work.
Someone in the chat said assault confirmed.
Well, yeah, certainly that's a lot of good ideas that you could use in an assault map as well.
Yeah.
The
So let's just
ways this is built.
jump in.
And this map looks great too, Sid.
I think
I thought when I jumped in, I said, "Oh, it's done already."
Yeah. So basically,
Sid said no.
the core idea behind this is there's a security system in the map, which is right now just called the Overlord, and when it's available, you can go and scan yourself. And you see these little monitors across the map too, kind of showing progress. And right now my player name is Malcolm, so it's just displaying that. But it's also showing you your active time. It's basically counting down how long you're able to be in that state. And once you are the Overlord, you now gain access to kind of restock areas in the map where you can get power-ups, take shortcuts across the map. And one of the big central things is that, whoa, hello, I just gooed myself, is that you get control of these towers that are spread around the map, and they'll basically just shoot at whatever you're aiming at. There's still some messaging
This is so fun.
issues to be figured out with, like giving you proper feedback for when you are in control of turrets. And Joe Wilcox right now is actually working on some stuff that will allow me to kind of spawn some HUD elements outside of game type logic that'll allow me to put in some stuff like putting something around your reticule to see, you're in control of turrets now and they're gonna be shooting, right? So because you're the instigator of all these projectiles, right? So you
So many decals.
you can totally goo yourself
making
if you're not
such a
careful
mess.
with it, right? And there's a bunch of variants. So there's goo, there's flak.
Careful not to kill yourself.
I'm gonna end up shooting myself. Let's see what else we have. Basically, any weapon that we have that are projectiles were easy candidates for this. So there's I think primary, of course, rockets.
Yeah, this one's fun.
This one's really easy to kill yourself with.
Yeah, you have to be careful. It's kind of there's still
They're all easy for me.
some things to be ironed out
I've
to make
killed
this a little
myself
bit
so
more
many times.
user friendly. Because usually you end up kind of running out of room, which means the turrets are aiming at you. So you kind of have to develop this habit of like running out of a room backwards to make sure you're not shooting yourself, which feels a little awkward.
Yeah.
What's really fun is waiting for people to try to grab
Yeah.
some of the items and just
There's a shock
Just
variant
blast
too.
'em.
Actually, let me grab a shock rifle real quick. Because one of the cool things about the shock turrets is that you can actually combo off of them too. Oh, actually, no, my time ran out. So anytime the time runs out or you kill the Overlord, basically it goes into a rebooting state. Shows progress for rebooting on here too, and then bam, you can retake it again. So shock turrets, if you manage to hit him, you can actually. Ooh. Nope.
There you go.
You can combo off of these two.
I knew you could do this.
Yeah, not so
He's
well
got a
apparently.
wireless mouse here, so I think it's
Yeah, blaming the mouse is always good.
Yeah.
Worked for me.
But yeah, theoretically, all you'd need to do to make a map that, say, like utilizes these blueprint is just, drop in turrets, drop in doors if you want to use them, drop in the big scanner, and it'll all just kind of work automatically and take care of itself.
That is super cool.
It gets pretty crazy in this room. We had one big playtest, I think, so far, where we actually had enough people to kind of,
Fill it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty chaotic and mayhem, but that's kind of the point. It was actually,
With some pretty good feedback.
yeah. It was surprisingly not horribly broken for the first playtest, except for a few minor known things. But
Yeah, somebody, I think it was on
So
the
it's kinda
forums, or
scary.
maybe it was on Twitter, said they would love to play this with that old Hulk mod. Remember that one where everybody chases the one guy?
Even without the gimmicks, this map gives me a total UT99 vibe.
Yep.
With all the shapes and just the way it's laid
kind
out.
of
Having
purposefully
like the
also.
arena in the middle.
It's purposefully kind of built around these, having
Little sub-arenas.
this basically this arena room for the U damage, then another one for the shield belt with the rockets, and everything's kind of purposefully a little bit more spread out and flat, just to kind of allow the turrets to actually do their thing, and have it be nice and open, not too super multi-tiered and layered and whatnot.
And we encourage everyone to, take this map apart and use parts of it for your maps, and because there's some really cool stuff in here.
It certainly is a good guide to how to build some of this stuff and use blueprints. It's a good way to get started with blueprints, is to take a look at the stuff he's made and modify it.
And you've commented them all out nice and cleanly, Sid.
For the most part, yeah.
So pretty good at that.
Yeah. I think it's mostly decent. There's probably a few that are maybe a little bit hazy, but try to be good about that. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a good habit to have regardless, right? I mean, it's just
Oh,
like,
shooting at you.
yeah, see, that's the kind of thing where you have to be super aware of where they are, otherwise you kind of end up screwing yourself. I think of these zones, I ended up putting 4 around the map, so you can see there's a pretty nice shortcut up here if you take this one. There's another one over on the side here that will allow you to cut through back down into the central area.
And no one else can actually go into these areas, right?
Yeah, the doors are set up actually so that theoretically you could, chase an overlord into one of these. If he gets caught
And then
with
die
the door
really
going
fast.
down, you'll get, you get splatted by the door. But also if you end up on the inside of this while your time runs out, or if you chase on the overlord, kill him, and then you're inside this area, like the door will still always open from the inside regardless.
Oh, cool.
So you're not going to end up being stuck in here and have to suicide or anything like that.
Yeah, this playtest was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
Yes, there was much swearing going on. That usually
Yeah,
means it's a good
it's-
play test.
Accidental
the
suicides.
sniper spot up here with the right person is pretty nasty too. I think Stu was sitting up here when we were
Oh, that's
playing,
why I
and-
kept dying.
Yep.
Well, I was
Yeah.
just going to ask if those guys had played this also, so yeah, I would hate to see Stu in this map.
We actually played FFA and TDM too, so both actually ended up working out pretty nicely. I'm still going to probably have to look into changing some of the color coding maybe, depending on game type, just so it knows whenever there's teams involved that it can, distinguish between red and blue, because right now it's basically just using red as a color code to say it's active, period.
And you also have a thread on the forums about this map, right? Where you're
Yep.
taking feedback?
There's an
Great.
official thread where people can give feedback. I think part of the issue right now is that not that many people actually have a chance to check it out yet, because it didn't make it into the cook build last week.
Oh, okay.
It'll make it into the cook build this week, and then hopefully that'll mean more people will be able to check it out and.
It's
give
going
more
out on
feedback.
Friday.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so with the builds, we start building them on Thursday at lunch, and so, ideally,
Ideally, they'll be on Friday.
it'd be at the end of, ideally it'd be the end of the day Thursday, but that seems to never happen. I think it happened once. So Friday is probably the right time to expect for the most part, unless we, obviously ran into some big issues. I mean, last week actually we had some discussions about whether or not we could have a build at all, because we had some big issues with
Oh,
moving
yeah.
from 4.5, and I think on the forums.
Yeah, it was a
people-
big deal getting it out last week.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so make sure you get the build this week and play this map, and head over to forums.unrealtournament.com and give Sid some feedback. Give him some ideas if you think of anything, because this map is a lot of fun. And like he said, those are Pete's taunts, and they're hilarious. Yeah, make sure you give him some feedback, and feel free to rip the map apart and do some of your own things with it. So,
Yep.
very awesome, Sid.
Thank you.
Definitely.
And now, Steve has some updates for us on
I'll
programming
talk
this
a little
week.
bit about, so this week again has been mostly a
Thank you,
week
Sid. Sorry.
focused on some bigger projects that don't have immediately visible results. But actually, I think we're starting to get to the point where people are going to be able to see some of the stuff. Joe's got the server browser in pretty good shape now, so I think there'll definitely be something to check out in the next build. I think all the different parts are being reported and everything, so we'll be interested in feedback on how it works. It's still, the server browser is only going to be like a big part of our goal with how people find matches and find friends to play is going to be this community lobby system that we're working on. And
Yes.
so that's more of
We're
our
all
focus in terms
excited
of
about.
polish now than the server browser, but we want to make sure the server browser is very functional. And so we certainly are interested in feedback with issues with functionality there. Matt's still working on bots, and they're making good progress. Pete has been getting cooking working for plugins and maps, so that's going to be something that's going to make it easier for our community developers to provide their maps and mods to work with our cooked builds. And so that's something we're excited about getting fully working. It'll also actually make it easier, I think, for our level designers if, for example, Sid wanted to make a midweek update of Overlord and get some people to test it. That'll be a nice way for him to be able to get that out. So I think in a lot of ways that's going to be really valuable for us. It's an important step for our project to get to that point.
Yeah, that'll be huge.
Yeah, very.
Excuse me. And then I've still been working on networking, I've got most of the pieces of the forward prediction system working well enough that I think it'll be ready for some testing this week. Probably this week's build, it'll be turned off by default, but I'll post how people can turn on client side if they want to test it out. I am sure it will have lots of flaws because it has not been tested out in the real world. But I'm definitely interested in getting some feedback and getting people a chance to take an early look at it and tell me how it works for them. I've also been making some general, at the same time, network fixes and optimizations to bandwidth use. So hopefully the networking experience is going to continue to improve with those changes. And at this point, I'm pretty much, other than continuing to support and fix the prediction system, I'm going to be moving back to looking at movement and weapons next week. So that'll start making some progress again.
All right. Somebody wants to know if Spacer's done.
No.
I thought that was cute, though.
No, I haven't had a chance really to touch it for a while now, just because of DAM and then now this project. So I might go back at some point and tweak a few little things, but it's actually kind of nice for maps to rest for a bit now and be in the wild and just actually get some continuous play without changing around
Right.
too much. So it's kind of a good thing to not end up making knee-jerk changes to stuff. But
Yeah, Space is one of our favorites.
Yes, it is.
Comes up
We
in the
play
cycle,
Spacer
yeah.
a lot, so we understand. So a little bit more about bots. Are they in the game now? And
So bots are in. I don't even know how to enable them.
I don't either, but I want to know.
I'll
because
make
that's
sure that Matt mentions how to do that. But they're very early still. So basically, the navigation system's implemented is actually really cool. How it's set up, it's all automatically generated and pretty rich set of functionality already. But in terms of combat, the bots really don't know very much now. They go around and pick up weapons and they'll shoot at you.
They
But
can jump from place to place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, they do.
And no, they can't taunt yet. I already asked.
That actually is pretty easy to do.
no
Set up-
more,
We'll set up the troll bot.
Yeah.
The Nepali bot.
no more manually placing apples around the map either.
That's right. It's
No,
all.
that's
So basically, the system, and hopefully we'll have Matt on soon to talk about this. It's hard to get Matt on camera, but it's.
He's like a
it
vampire.
basically uses the
Yes.
nav mesh to build a 2D representation, automatically generate a 2D representation of the world, and then automatically generates nodes on top of the nav mesh for important locations like pickups, and also generates nodes to connect areas. So basically, the node system acts as a higher level. Where do I want to go? And then the nav mesh is used for actual 2D navigation to that space, through that space. And so far, yeah, it's.
That sounds
seems
awesome.
really-
I used to make maps, and I would just say, "Here, do the bot pathing for me," and hand it off to somebody else.
And it was very difficult. Bot pathing was very difficult,
It
and even people
was.
that were experienced would have trouble getting all the nodes set up right. And frankly, I mean, unless you were one of the programmers that really understood, how it worked, it was just hard to understand the trade-offs of, like, where to place them. So it's really nice to have an automated system. It'll be nice both from taking a burden off of level designers, and also I think for ending up with a better AI experience across most maps. So, so really excited about doing that.
Okay, so tomorrow, make sure you drop by the engine stream at the same time as this stream, 2 o'clock. Senior technical artist John Lindquist will be here, Tim Ellick will be here, and Dana and Chance will be talking visual effect concepts and tool, including pivot painter, morph targets, mesh particles, and more. And they'll also have some live demos, and they'll do the community spotlight. So make sure you join them. They're going to have a great stream tomorrow. Plus, you get to say hi to John, so it'll be cool. So make sure you follow us on our social channels. Shelly will put up a screen after this so you can see them all. And make sure you join us next week. And thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.